sitting over there just marveling at the frequency of love in this place. I get asked to sing at different congregations, and there's this trend going around in a lot of churches where it's dark, and they have you worship in the dark, and I just think that's insane. I am not at the club. I am at church. I was at the club last night. Should be able to tell the difference. So I love being able to see your faces, and my heart is so filled when I'm here, and it's very healing for me anytime I come here. So I want to do a little light work with you. And for those of you who don't know what light work is, it's just lifting your frequency. So I'm going to need your help singing this song, okay? And all you have to do is, let me show you.
Divinity defined. I am of God on the
Thank you.
Let's thank Alika again, please. You got your light? Or is your light dim? What about your joy? Do you know where your joy is, or are you exhausted? Do you know where your joy is? Okay. My title today is, Are You a Weary Lightmaker? Are you a weary lightmaker? There are many weary, because it's all about getting your joy back here today. You know, so I've been through periods in my life where I think I was particularly beyond burnout. I was exhausted. Have you been there? Where you're exhausted? And I had gone through this pretty long period on one job that I had, and it just kept becoming more and more and more. Now, I have always enjoyed my work. I'm kind of crazy. I like to work, okay? And I just can't moderate it, though. I just generally do too much. But I generally feel that I am making a contribution to society. I think my work is compassionate work, If you come, I want to make sure your surgery is safe, But times you just feel like you're depleted, like you've just given all that you can give, but you still want to do good in the world. You still see that there are so many needs, and in a lot of ways, you want to help with all of them. But how do you do it when there are so many needs and there's only one or two of us? The issue is, if you are exhausted, you cannot give. It's impossible to give if you're exhausted, because you have lost your ability to spread the joy. So in reflection, during this process, I happened to be reviewing some documents or something, and the question came across, what do you want to be doing 5 years from now? I'll let you know this was a while ago, because now we plan in 1 and 3 years. But this was, what do you want to do 5 years from now? And the only answer that came to my mind is, not this. Not this. Now, fortunately for me at this particular time, I took essentially a year off from management. And I needed to. Now, fortunately for me, I did that many years ago, and I don't think I've ever been burnt out since. But I did have to reduce. I did have to rejuvenate myself. So we're talking about Karen Walrond, who writes in the Lightmakers Manifesto, how to work for change without losing your joy. Can you work for change without losing your joy? Now, a manifesto is a strategy. That's all it is. It's a big word for your strategy. How are you going to maintain your joy and continue to do good in the world if you are exhausted? How are you going to manage that? And hopefully we'll give you some ideas this morning. A strategy is just a plan on how you are going to manage your time and creates priorities for what you're doing. But you have to choose which is the higher priority to know. All of it is good. We don't want to discount any good thing, but there is a priority. Now, Karen gives her story. She is currently now a photojournalist. Never knew what a photojournalist was, but it sounds impressive. She's a photojournalist, and she's a photojournalist for the One Campaign. Anybody know what the One Campaign is? This is the charity led by Bono. This is preventing preventable diseases in Africa. Now, she didn't start out as a photographer. She was an engineer who went back to school and became a lawyer, and was a lawyer in the energy industry. So how did she get from there to being a photojournalist? Well, how she got there is she just needed to pick up a hobby. She would needed to rejuvenate herself. She said she had worked 8 to 10 hours a day for years. I said, 8 to 10? Girl, that's lunchtime, I call my job my pimp, by the way. So she said she was exhausted, and so she had to find something else to do. So out of the blue, Out of the blue, she asked one of her friends who was a photographer, go with me, and I want to buy a camera. So she buys a camera, and she starts just taking pictures. Something to release her energy, to find something new to love. It wasn't to make money, it was just to express art. But she had this call in her life. She could feel she wanted to do good in the world. Do you want to do good in the world? But you have to ask yourself, how do you do it? It's great if you can send a check and send the check. But that really isn't where we get most of our value and our juice from. It's getting involved with people, getting to meet people, getting to see the benefits of what happens if you actually contribute. You never have to leave, by the way. I like kids crying in church. It lets you know we ain't dead. There's a lot of churches, y'all, that ain't got no babies. Okay? So that baby can cry all they want to. It's fine with me. Because I think it's a sign of youth. That we're still replenishing. This is not an old congregation. For those of you that are online, yes, we have some old folks like me, but most of the people here are younger than me. I'm never going to say that again. So Karen became a photographer. So she had to do something else, and slowly she was drawn away to being a photographer, and she had always wanted to be doing something that benefited the world, and she ends up being the photojournalist for the One campaign. How beautiful is that? But here's how wonderful life is, and if you allow the passion that is within you to call to you, to move you forward. She was an engineer and an attorney. She said, I had no idea that I had any artistic ability at all. In fact, she said her instructors had told her parents, please don't ever let her do anything artistic. Have you ever been discouraged? Has someone ever discouraged you from what you wanted to do? People told me I couldn't do certain things, and Lord, that's when I wake up. You tell me I can't do something, yes, I can. I may not tell you to your face, but I'm going to show you. So she goes on. Now, Karen is a unique individual. She is an Afro-Caribbean woman. Her parents immigrated from Trinidad. So she has a different experience as being in America. But so she has an international feel to her whole experience. But she has a commitment to diversity and inclusion and equality and equity. So how does she get to express this in the energy industry? And she says that she did her best to make sure that things were responsible within the industry, but she always felt just a little bit empty from the work. And she had lost her joy in her work. Nothing wrong with her work. She wasn't hitting people in the head and taking their money, but she had just lost her joy. But now she has a camera, and she is seeing good in the world through the lens of her camera. So she goes and she gets involved in the One campaign, and what she does is she photographs these people who go into people's homes in Africa and teach them how to have clean water, how to manage their energy, and most importantly, educate them on how to not spread disease, tuberculosis, malaria, and AIDS. So she sees all of these people who give their lives for this because, we hear the bad things in the news, but there are tons of people that are out there. Some of you have been all kinds of places in the world or in your community and done some good. But when you look at all of the challenges that are in life now with racism, dominant culture supremacism, the poverty, all kinds of phobias, all kinds of problems that we have, violence, war. If you look everywhere, you can get overwhelmed with it all. You can just get overwhelmed. How can I help? You get to the point of despair if you only look at what's wrong. You won't have your joy if you only look at what's wrong. So she continues, so she starts benefiting from this experience. She's enriched from it, and eventually she's in a position that she can migrate from her work in the energy industry, and all she does, that was minimizing, and I don't mean to do that. What she does now is she gets to express herself because she is now a photojournalist. She says, I get to make light. Have you made light lately in the world? Now, we know that we are not the light. The light is within us. But where we go and the things we do, we make light in the world. But you can't do it if you're exhausted. And you can't do it if you just don't feel that you have the energy to go on. But you can bring light to the darkness if you get your joy back. But you have to get your joy back. She says, I quote, using our voices and our actions to bring about positive change in the world. This is what was important to her, and it's important to many of us. But the question is how do you do it? If you look at it all and you take out a big bite of everything, it feels like you should do everything, and you probably cannot do this. But you can do something if you get your joy back. But are you a weary light maker? Have you become weary? Now, the signs may be, do you get a restful night of sleep? All the time. My time is to be exhausted, go to bed, and wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning working. My head starts right then and there. I start working. I get with my colleagues at work, and I say, I had one of those 2 a.m. working events, and they said, well, mine was at 2:30. It's just something about what happens at that time that I was exhausted when I went to sleep. But soon as I recovered a bit, immediately my mind goes back to working again. But that is not how you survive, right? That will lead you to exhaustion. Do you undereat or overeat? Do you have random pains and aches in your body? Do you have a story about all your aches and pains? All of these things can be signs. Now, if they're associated with a medical condition, now you know. But if they're not associated with anything, have you thought about maybe you're just exhausted? I'm not talking about burnout, y'all. I'm talking about exhausted, where you don't even like what you do. And it's easy to do. Your head can bother you, your stomach can bother you, because your body is ringing out trying to tell you what you are doing right now is not working for you. And we will do everything in the world to ignore it. But it is trying to tell us something. Now, stress is something we all experience at times. There's nothing wrong with it in small doses. In fact, it's actually rather motivational to have just a little bit of stress. I need just a little bit of stress. Being up here is a little stressful for me. But I need a little bit because it motivates me. But if you have stress continuously, you are going to become exhausted. Because you can't live like that. You cannot give and give and give and not get replenished. And you have to find out how you will get replenished. Because here is what happens. When we get exhausted, we start keeping score. We say, you did this for me, I expect this back from you. It's an exchange. But spiritual life doesn't work that way. I do my good over here, and my abundance comes from me over there, because it's all working together for good. But the Spirit makes it possible, so it always comes from a place that I don't expect. I'm looking for it here, but it rewards me over there. But when we are exhausted, we start evaluating how much am I giving and whether or not I am getting back and whether or not I am valued by what I am doing. That is keeping score. And there's nothing wrong with it, except more than likely, if you start keeping score, you're going to be more depressed. But your joy will get you to recover. It's the joy that is within you that gives you the ability to go out in the world and make light. Emma Curtis Hopkins, which we quote very frequently, said, that as you look for your good is looking for you. It's there, it's looking for you. You don't have to go all the way to it. It will meet you halfway because your good is never lost. And that is the spiritual principle this morning, that your good is never lost. Everything that you've ever done for good, and even if you can't count it all and believe that you have been repaid for it all, you will, if you continue to do good, you shall reap the abundance associated with it. So don't be weary in doing good, because you will receive the abundant harvest. But you have to refresh. If you don't recharge yourself, you won't be able to spread light in the world. And you have to find out what way that does it for you. It's different for different people. I lived in Florida for 20 years. People went to the beach. If I went to the beach, I took a book and my computer. I don't realize, that's not a relaxing thing for me, right? It's just not. For other people, it's a relaxing thing. And no, I did not walk barefoot on the sand. No, I didn't. That would really stress me out. But what rejuvenates you? And you cannot look at somebody else's life and they say, this is what I did, and you look at that. Sometimes a vacation, you come back more tired than you were when you left, particularly if you vacation with your family. I mean, whatever, whatever the circumstances, you can come back depleted from the experience because you haven't found what gives you energy and gets your joy flowing again. And that's what you have to find. You have to find what replenishes and what recharges you so that you get your joy back. Because if you get your joy back, you can continue to do good and bring light into the world. But it does not happen keeping score. Once you start keeping score, just recognize that you're probably tired. And you need to recharge. And you need to find a way to do it. For some, that's photography. It's not mine. For everyone else, there's a different way of doing it. I need to get in my house, turn the music up, and, sing like I think I'm Donna Summer or something. I do. I mean, until I get my joy back. Now, nobody has to tell me how bad I sound or how good I sound. It don't make me any difference because this is how I get my joy. And this is what you have to do. You have to find out what that is for you. Because if you don't find your joy, if you don't get your joy back, your light is going to be dim. And you need a bright light in the world in which we live that has so many problems. And here's the deal. You can fight against it all, and there are times to fight. There's a time for everything under the sun. But I'm here to tell you it's the change of consciousness that changes the world. We are in the spot we are in because our conscience is in the wrong place. We are trying to win. We are trying to one-up everyone else. We want bigger guns. I'm stronger than. I'm better than you. That is the kind of behavior. When you are there, you will lose your joy. But if you have a shift in consciousness where you understand that your good is never lost, everything that you have ever done that is good will return to you, and learn to pay attention to the good in your life. Because where you look and find your good, you'll probably find your joy. Those things are probably in the same place. And remember this, your good is also looking for you. So you don't need to do it on your own. So even though you're weary and tired, the good comes with its own power. You can pray for anything to manifest in your life. But when you pray for principle to show up in your life, it comes with the power. There is a difference. I always tell the students that we have class together, I said, I can pray for a Bentley and I can have a Bentley. I can. But when I pray for love, it comes with the power. When I pray for peace, it comes with the power. When I pray for joy, it comes with the power. And what we sometimes is we want all the things that come that don't have no power. And what you need to do is plant some seeds that have power in them. Because the Spirit enlivens them and makes them alive. That is why your good is looking for you. So if you feel that your light is dim, if you feel that you have lost your joy, there's only one thing to do, and that is turn to the Spirit and ask, what do you need to do? I don't know what you need to do. I don't have those kind of answers. Maybe other ministers do. I don't. But I can tell you what to do, and that is to turn to the light that is within you. And if you pay attention to your life, you will notice what gives you life, what gives you joy, what gives you the ability to rejoice, what gives you and promotes you with the possibility of bringing good into the world. Because when you bring good into the world, you are a light maker in that world. So, have you found your joy? Do you need to find your joy? Just turn to the spirit that is within you and ask for your joy back. Because if you get your joy back, I guarantee you, you will start to do good. And as you start to do good, you will recharge. But most often, it's not the job. It would be nice if it was, but most of the time, it's something else. But whatever recharges you that is legal or that you don't get caught, that there's no video, you know, as long as you're not hitting people in the head, how you get your joy gives you life. It recharges you. But if you are depleted and you are exhausted, and if you have exceeded burnout and you have become exhausted, you've got to get your joy back. And so it is. Praying principle comes with the power. It is called absolute treatment. When you pray for the principle to manifest in your life, it comes with the power. Let us pray, giving thanks and praise for the power in the presence that brings joy with it. And it turns up the lights and gives us the ability to do good. So I speak my word right now for the joy to fill the room. Everyone here who doesn't feel it, I pray that they experience the joy of God, because it is the power that created the universe, and it will empower you to do good in the world. And so it is.